Cam, let's just put up the slide. I don't
Yeah,
know if
no, that's fine.
people.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, you have something you want to show? I will start talking about location today.
Yes, one moment, sir. I'll just put it up. I'm trying to figure out who's host. So this is Shaq speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Nat and I took it upon ourselves to make this because we were disagreeing on the perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and we took pictures with the absence of a person just to see from a deaf perspective like what we see from our own eyes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so this is what we came up with, and we added the symbols underneath so we can be clear on it. Nat
Right.
was taking pictures where the camera was in front of him, but for me, I thought it was better that we turn that around because we were talking about the perspective, right?
Yes.
And so we wanted to include pictures that are somewhat predictive so that we
Mm-hmm.
can, when we start talking about the next topics, that we can have a at least this as a reference point so we're not all confused.
Okay, that's good. It looks fine to me. Um, for the dictionary, when people are using it, they will see the signs as if another person was doing it. So I think
Yes,
this will
sir.
be
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And when you're transcribing and when you're doing a dictionary, it's really different kinds of things. We transcribe from our own perspective, but we do this. Yes. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
you've shared with everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think it's pretty clear. How did the other people feel?
With what I put up, sir, Shaq is asking. Is that what you're
What
talking
Chuck
about?
put up? What Chuck put up? Yeah, or whoever put it up.
Okay. Meng has her hand up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, let me add one more thing Shaq is saying. All right, we'll put Meng first. Hold on. Go ahead. So for palm orientation, let me just adjust my camera here. For the palm, as you can see in these pictures, that's the perspective what's highlighted, and then you see the fingers. But because of the absence of a person, we don't know whether there's an example. One of the examples here is confusing to me because uh, I don't know. It just because it looks like it's not being strained. It looks like just a regular hand. And Shaq is saying, "Well, don't worry. Yeah, I understand. We'll fix those ones. I'm just saying this is what we came up with, me and Nat."
Yeah, I mean, I think you can. This is a good beginning and you can refine it. So I think with other drawings. And if you want, you saw the chart that I showed you yesterday with, I think, 20 something combinations of information. You know,
Yes,
like
sir.
with inward and upward, inward and sideward. You can actually even take your time and do that over time. That would be very useful for beginning students to have. And useful for you as advanced students to make reference to. Okay, Shot, can you put that back up for a second?
Okay.
Okay, so this is from the perspective of people doing it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just remember for the dictionary that on the first column, for the actual dictionary, any symbols in the dictionary, and the first, the first row, the third and the fifth will have to be switched. Because what you when you see the sign that's being produced, it will be the opposite of what you what you have here for the left. But if you see it on the dictionary, it will be as if you are seeing it this way. So it's going to be the last symbol.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
From a reader's perspective, we have to switch it up.
Yes. So when you're doing the dictionary, this is good for your own analysis, but when you're doing the dictionary work, you should list the information from the perspective of the reader. Yeah.
I see.
Right. Okay. All right. That looks good to me. Yes, Ming.
So in terms of the analysis, then do we include the person in the graphic, like if we're going to like have an explanation to it, or do we just use the hand, or is it just implied that it's going to always be a reader's perspective, or do we have to uh, make it explicit?
Well, we can make it explicit that the transcription is from a reader's perspective, but I think it will be clear. Shot, can you take this down and let me pull up something else and show you? Okay, let's see. All right.
Shaq is admitting that Nat was right all along. It's hard to do to admit that, but and Nat saying see.
Yeah, let me show you this. So if you, can you see the signs clearly? two signs at the bottom, drink and proud. Drink and proud.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you have this sign. Now, if you're doing it from your own perspective, it is this way. But if you're doing it from the reader's perspective, it's all turned around. Can you see that?
Yes, sir. Yes. We understand
Yeah,
that,
so
sir. Yes.
that's just the only thing. It's only right and left that you have to switch for the dictionary. For your own analysis, it's fine to do it whatever way is most comfortable for you. And if you actually are teaching a course and talking about transcription, you should do it from the signer, your own perspective. Okay, this is just to show you an example of what I was talking about. Okay, any other questions?
We're good, sir.
Okay, all right, so let me talk about a couple of things first. So I just want to confirm with everyone now that the test, because Yami has an appointment on the 30th, the test will now be on the 6th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So today, what I want to talk about is location. And we'll first talk about the ordering, and then we'll look at the Vietnamese signs, and then we'll look at FSL signs from lesson 2. Okay. If we have time, we'll then continue with movement and with non-manual. And Yami and others, since Yami won't be in the class on the 30th, I don't want to talk about anything new. So like I want to try to finish location, movement, and non-manuals first. But if we don't finish that today, then on Tuesday, we're not going to continue with that discussion, but we will let you continue in groups with doing the insertion of the parts of speech and the lesson for each of the lessons you have. So like we basically finish with lesson 2, and we'll go on to lesson 3, 4, 5, however you can divide it up on Tuesday. Is that clear? So it's just basically working on the practical aspects of the dictionary, not talking about anything really new. Okay. So if we finish labeling all the signs according to their part of speech, like N for noun, V for verb, etc., and we have the lesson number L3, L4, L5, then if there's time, we can start organizing each lesson according to hand shape location. But the main thing is to get everything labeled first. By labeling, I mean the meaning, like this sign is 7. It's a number, NUM, and then comma, and it's in lesson L2, and then close parenthesis. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. If not, just ask me any questions. On Tuesday, we'll discuss it in more detail. Okay, so right now, let me open up, talk about location. Um, Now, in Stokey's dictionary and in some other dictionaries, the British Sign Language Dictionary, um, people list locations in a different way than what we will do. Like Stokey lists 0 tab first, and then he lists different parts of the face. But what we're going to do to make it very simple is, hold on a second. Sorry, I have the wrong file up here. Hold on. Try again. Okay. Why is this shifting each time I do this? I'll try it again. Okay, so here's a chart I was talking about yesterday, where it includes the palm orientation and the finger orientation. Eventually, we can make a chart of this so people can see the actual information. Because I think now you have this hand shape, but I'm not sure you have this particular hand shape with this particular orientation. Anyway, the main thing is to use this for your own purposes. So you can, yes,
Peeps has a comment.
Yes, Peeps.
Dr. Woody, I wanted to show you something about palm orientation and finger orientation. Can you see this?
It's too small.
Can we bring down the screen for a second then? One moment.
Let me stop sharing.
Here, Dr. Woody, can you see this?
Yes.
So it follows the order of the orientation, just if people are confused, especially if we're reversing it, it really helps.
Yeah.
Here is, the impossible ones.
Yes. Yes.
This is possible, and really, it just to help us all out in terms of like grasping it.
Well, that looks great to me, but let me. Nat has a point. Has a question. Nat.
We're just waiting for the spotlight, sir. Yes, it shows exactly also.
Yeah.
1 second. Hold on. So it shows the exact perspective, going in, out, up. But I'm concerned though is the 45-degree or those possibilities, for example. That's because it applies to the basic ones, but when we start putting combinations, it might be different.
Yeah, the combinations would tend to be in this. Peeps, can you come back? Can you come back on?
This, sir?
Okay, so if we have, this is to the side, and this is downward. Can you pull it up for a second? Yeah, pull up, yes, yes. So let me see where sideways is. Yeah, okay. Actually reverse it with the palm. No, no, no. Sorry. Right now on the,
Flip it upside down, sir.
let me see. Do the first column, do to the side. First column to the side. Yeah, do it this way.
Oh, right, right, okay.
All right, now do the second column downward. So you, yes, yes. All right, so let me see here. To the side.
And but Nat is saying,
Yeah,
yes, we have the two, but when you, okay, show me the first one, sir. Or no, up. That, okay. So it's different perspective. But this is me as a reader, right? So I'm not flipping it. It's not yet opposite, right? Because you're saying it's the your perspective, but it's not. I mean, yeah, it is pure perspective. That's what I'm talking about. It's already there, but maybe your camera is backwards. I don't know what's going on with your camera. This is not. So again, it's not my perspective. It's always the perspective of the reader. That's how we're arranging that. But Peebs, yours is doing it from my perspective. So, I guess I'll just go home because my eyes seem to have flipped when it
yeah.
comes to
Well,
camera angle.
actually, I think there's some problem with the mirror image on Zoom because, okay, now I'm going to raise my right hand. But when I do this, I have to look at myself and not, yeah. So I'm having real problems. Like, for example, I want to go, okay, but let's see. So like I usually end up putting the hand here and then I tried to correct it, but then I put it the wrong way. So I think it may work out that Pepys's thing may be reversing on us. So that if you look at it, if you look at Pepys columns like this, you will see it correctly. But if you show it on the screen, you may not be able to see it correctly. Anyway, you'll have to work that out yourself. Okay, but what I want to say is, Nat, when you were talking about like two different things, one over the other, I think in the dictionary, what you may want to do is you may want to do it side by side. So you would do see. Okay, let's say this. Okay. This is, well, I can't do it with this on Zoom. But anyway, put the one that's going to occur earliest. So like this one is going to be earlier than this one. Okay. So if you had a sign like house, whether it moves or not, the orientation is going to be partly to the side and partly down. Okay. So what you could do is to the side occurs before down, right? So you write the symbol for to the side, then you write a slash, and then you write down. And the slash indicates that they're really on top of each other. Okay, so that may help you because I think actually in the text, putting one symbol over the other will be difficult. Hard to type that in. So put the symbol that's going to occur first, and then a slash, and then the other symbol. So if you had to the left side and down, to the left side would occur first, slash down. Not down slash to the left side, because you'd be going like, oh, we have to go back. So start with the one that's earliest. Okay, so if you have something like inward, inward and downward, right? Palm orientation, inward and downward, and you end up with something like this. This is in and down. So you'd write the symbol for in first, the upside down T. Okay. Oh, sorry, the regular T. And then T slash down. Does that make any sense at all? But you wouldn't write down slash T. Right? You would write the one that would occur first, the inward slash downward, inward and downward. Anyway, I don't think you're going to have that many that are going to be diagonal like that. But when we get to that, we can go through and make sure everybody's doing it in the same way. Okay. Peeps, I think that's good. Can you help other people get their own or make their own?
This is Peebs. So this actually I just found. Nat gave me the idea when I was listing all the possibilities, and so that's when I thought, okay, if I even with the slight angle, we can still use that, the 45-degree slant, for example. So 1, 2, 3, kind of like that. Because with this, if you can see here, so inward, upward, right? So then that could be what we put down in the analysis, right? It's between those, inward and upward, right? If that's the hand shape, right, sir?
Yes. Yami? Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering how we're going to document it because uh, it'll be difficult. And people are saying this is just for us to like learn, like starting off point. So once we have that, we would be able to document it properly. It's just a learning tool. Yami? Okay, so but when we're transcribing it, I mean, so when we document it down, how is that going to work? How is that going to look like? So once we have the analysis, this again is a tool. It'll help us figure out which is prioritized or which goes first, right? And taking into account the reversed effect. So if we have that sign, for example, it's not, the documentation is still going to be a little bit complicated, but it's just something to help us. Dr. Woody?
Yeah, and Yami, don't worry about placing it above or below. Use a slash. So the first one, like when Peeps, go ahead and show again. So this would be like inward,
Mhm.
right?
Inward.
With yes, yes, and then say inward and upward,
Mhm.
inward and upward. So then this is inward, this is upward, and this is inward slash upward. And the slash means it's together. It's just a typing constraint. So I don't think there'll be a problem. But you are correct in that unless you have typesetting, it's difficult on a computer to type one thing over another without creating a new line for everything. But it will work out. Yeah. Okay. So maybe Nat and Peeps can work on this to develop the tool that will help you.
Yes, sir.
What was Nat's comment? Sorry, I missed part of it.
Yeah, it might, when we start getting into various classifiers.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, let me just say it again. Uh, so Peebs and I will develop
Okay.
and hold on.
Jacques can do the technology, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll do the paper stuff. You do all the technology, so you
Okay.
can document it.
All right. Okay, good. So any other questions or comments?
Yami has a comment.
Yes.
It's related to Nat. And perhaps we can do like some sort of other visual just to make it cuter. What do you think? Can you guys do that? Right, Shaq? You can do that. Shaq is saying, "No, I'm going home." See this mirror? I
Yeah.
can't split my brain like that.
Okay. Well, it's good discussion, but we actually used a lot of time. So let's take a break come back at 2 o'clock your time. And then I'm going to talk about location. I would think we can get through that fairly quickly, and movement and non-manual expression. Okay? All right.
Okay, sir.
See you in 15 minutes then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. So going back to the orientations, oops, sorry. Okay, if you, can you see the font okay, the typing? Okay, so I have in parentheses, I have some of these orientations are physically impossible to produce. So they are not included in the chart. Occasionally, an orientation will be in between two of these locations and will be represented as slash. So we did that in other dictionaries using the slash. Okay, now for locations, as I mentioned, Stokey's dictionary and the British dictionary, they follow like a very complex system of locations. So zero tab first, and then the head, and it goes on and on and on. So what I've done is basically simplify the location. So start at the top of the head. Now this would be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down. At or near the top of the head, the whole face, at or near the front part of the upper part of the face. So just go down and then all the way down to the trunk and arm. As you go down, you may find that you will have like different places on the trunk, like you may have here and here and here. So I would suggest going from right. So for example, okay, let's do some examples. Okay, so like this would be first, or it would be early. This would be later. This would be later. But here you might have here, here, and here. So if you do this, then this occurs first, right occurs first, center occurs second, and left occurs. Okay, so like an ASL, sometimes the sign for have can be done one-handed. Okay, this is on the right side, and then police on the left side. So then have would occur before police. Okay, so just very simple downward. Okay. Now let's take a look at the Vietnamese signs that we were looking at before, Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language. Okay, so just to review very quickly, as we said, figure 1 is a list of Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language signs randomly. And then we organize in figure 2 by listing only the one-handed signs. In figure 3, we have organized by hand shape. In figure 4, oops, sorry, I think this should be figure 4. Sorry, figure 2. Oh, hold on a second here. Well, anyway, the next chart, yes, okay, figure 2. That should be figure 3. Let me change this. And the next one, we look at orientation. So in this chart, we see that paternal uncle, oops, sorry. Talking about this, if you can see it. Well, sorry about that. Let me put it back up. Okay, let me go back through this again. All right, so basically, again, this one is just a list of Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language. As you can see, there are one-handed signs and two-handed signs. So then we have modified this to only include one-handed signs in figure 2. Only one-handed signs. Hold on. Why I'm not getting a bigger screen here. Okay, so again, one-handed signs and two-handed signs. Only one-handed signs. One-handed signs by hand shape. And if we look here, let me see, we can get this down. If we look here, can you still see everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so if you look at the chart here, you see by hand shape, paternal uncle and wrong, we can't make a distinction. And then most and who and book bag, we can't make a total distinction because this has the same hand shape. So then we go to the next slide, our next chart. We still have paternal uncle and wrong. Nothing changes with looking at orientation, but orientation gives us book bag, most, and who. So let's take a look at location. So in location, we start near the top of the head and we move down. So the sign for wrong is made on the chin. The sign for paternal uncle is made under the chin. Which sign goes first in terms of location?
Kyla saying wrong. Meng saying wrong is first.
Yes, because it's higher. It's on the chin, not under the chin. So we have it in the right order. We don't need to change anything. Okay, but we might need to change it if it was not yet in the right order. Or maybe, let me go back and look at the chart before. Yeah, we have paternal uncle first and then wrong in this chart after we did the hand shape. So then we have to reverse wrong first, followed by paternal uncle. And we do that here. Wrong first, followed by paternal uncle. Is that clear?
Meng has her hand up.
Yes, Meng.
One moment. So eat star apple. Is it like this, sir? Is it, sorry, is it like this, sir? Is this the sign
Star
for
apple,
each star?
yes.
With no movement?
Well, you might have movement, you might just, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So from my analysis, though, the hand shape is this, and it's the same. But if we're looking at orientation, then it's towards you, inside first, right? Then up, left. But there, isn't it backwards? Because wrong is inward and star apple is left.
Did anybody want to answer that question?
Yeah, because star apple. So eat star apple was first, right? And then it was.
Why is star apple first?
Well, they have the same hand shape, right?
No,
But
they
the
don't. They don't have the same hand shape. Star apple has this hand shape. Star apple has this hand shape. Paternal uncle has this hand shape. Different.
Okay, sorry. I couldn't see it. All right, because it was flipped around.
Okay. Now that's a very common thing that people do. You'll finish with one thing and then you'll see, oh, but wait, shouldn't it be the other way around? Because you forgot you already finished with hand shape and then you move to orientation. So, yeah. Right.
Shaq is saying foul, but good try, Meng.
Okay, no, but it's good. It's good that you say that because then you can see the problems that can arise when you're doing the analysis. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is that clear now? So
Yeah.
once you've done handshake, finish. There's no orientation here. So you're finished with this sign. You don't need to look at it for orientation or for location or for a movement or anything else. There's only one sign with this handshake. So you don't need to include anything else. Okay. All right. Let me go back. Okay. Now, let's go back up and take a look at all right, so we have most and who have the same orientation. Book bag has a different orientation and moves forward. Most and who have the same orientation. Now, which occurs first, most or who?
Most, Meng is saying.
Most, right,
most.
Because it is higher. Let me make sure I got this here. Yeah, okay. So it happened to be higher in our original data, so we don't have to change that. Okay, so that's how we deal with location. Any questions on that? If not, then let's go to lesson 2 and look at location. Does location distinguish anything else in our signs? Okay. All right, Jacques, can you pull up lesson 2? Or pull up the organization of the last
From which
chart we
group?
looked at.
We had two groups, so just
Pull up one
the,
group and then we'll pull up the other group.
from yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
pull up any group and then we can look.
Sorry, Dr. Whitty. This is the interpreter speaking,
Yes.
and the location also is the first position. If it's a moving.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It's like you take a picture of the sign as it starts. So the first handshake. So for example, in a sign like Hong Kong, it's this handshake. Okay. In a sign like become less, it begins with the beginning handshake. So for example, most happens to occur higher, but if it goes down low and then goes high, it actually starts lower. Okay.
What was it?
Okay.
So here, sir, here.
Yeah, now actually tomorrow and yesterday were distinguished, and what was it? Hold on a second. Go down to the next one, 10. Okay, yes. All right. So basically tomorrow and yesterday, where they have the same orientation or not?
This is shock.
Mm-hmm.
So Jasmine and I talked about this, and when we brought the two groups together, we have yet to have a full agreement on where it starts. But so this is yesterday, and tomorrow is angled here. So this is yesterday. It's a different movement, and this is tomorrow. So I think we're going to start it off as the same, and the movement will be different.
Right. Yeah. So this, even though the second movement, this sign is higher than this sign, we don't want to look at the second movement. We only want to look at the initial position. So it's the same place. And roughly it's the same orientation. Okay. And
Okay.
then we go down to 10. Go down. That's also a different orientation. So that is handled that sign. Okay. Go down. Nothing by location yet. Nothing by location. They're all the same. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you have any that are distinguished in this lesson by location. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we're finished with one-handed. So nothing needs to be changed according to location, right? All right, so let's go on to movement. Jacques, you can, well, I think the other one will be the same because the signs are the same. Okay, which one?
So
Go ahead
the
and
other
show.
group has, okay, I'll put it up. It's Nat's group. They show the other way around. One moment. So this is Nat. One moment, just looking for the folder.
Okay.
Sorry, my computer froze. One moment.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, this is Nat. One moment. Sorry, my computer's freezing up. One moment. Okay. So, Bay, are you ready? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the sign for, because of the orientation is to the left and upwards.
Okay.
That's for tomorrow.
Right.
Now we have yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The orientation is outwards up,
Okay.
and that's what we interpreted.
Right. That's fine. We can decide on that later. So then there's still no examples of anything in the data for lesson 2, no examples of anything that differs by location, hand shape and orientation. Yes,
No, sir. No, sir.
no location. Okay. All right, good. Let me go back to the talk about movement now. And we don't use any special symbols for location since there are rarely more than 2 or 3 signs where location makes a difference. So if hand shapes, orientations, and locations are not enough to distinguish the signs, the next parameter is movement. So 2 things to note about movements. If there's no movement compared with movement, the no movement signs occur first. So for example, in the sign for 6 and Wednesday, 6 has no movement, Wednesday has movement, therefore 6 occurs first and Wednesday occurs second. Signs with fewer movements are listed before signs with more movements. So you can count the number of movements, okay? Any questions about that?
No, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's take a look at how this applies to the Vietnamese signs. Sorry. Oh, wrong place. Sorry. Okay, so here we have,
Sorry, it's not up yet, sir.
sorry, okay, good, thank you. Okay, is it up now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's look at location here. All right, so basically, okay, so here we are. Okay, each star apple is distinguished from everything else by its hand shape. There are no other signs with the same hand shape, so we don't need to look at orientation or location or movement. Wrong and paternal uncle are a group of signs with the same hand shape and the same orientation, but the location is different. Wrong occurs higher than paternal uncle. That's why wrong is placed first. Okay, with the next one here, book bag is and most and who all have the same hand shape. Book bag is distinguished from most and who by the orientation. Most and who have the same orientation, but most hand shape and orientation, but most is higher than who. So therefore, most occurs before who. Okay, now we have two-wheel vehicle goes inches forward, moves very slowly, and two-wheel vehicle goes forward at a normal speed. Okay. Um, they both have the same hand shape. They both have the same location. Orientation. They both have the same location. What about movement? Is the movement the same or different?
It's different, sir. It's different.
Different.
I
Okay.
understand it's different.
So they both have movement. Which has the most movements? Which has the least number of movements? We're talking about, and which one has the least number of movements or the simplest movements? Yes. Yes. So this is the simplest movements. This is more complex movement and more movements. Okay, let me go back. Sorry. Okay, so we need to transpose those and put two-wheel vehicle goes forward first. So we do this in the next chart where we're looking at hand shape, orientation, location, and movement. We should change to location. My M is having a problem today. Yep, sorry. All right, I can fix this later. So here we see two-wheel vehicle goes forward first, followed by two-wheel vehicle inches forward. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, let's go through and check the FSL signs for movement. I think they're already organized that way, but let's just check to make sure.
One moment, sir.
No problem.
Dr. Woody, go ahead.
Okay, so Jacques, let's go through the list. Okay, well, let's see. Go back up to tomorrow and yesterday. If you don't distinguish those by orientation, you probably need to distinguish them by movement. And it looks to me, but which movement do you think is easier? Tomorrow or yesterday?
Jasmine's saying tomorrow. Shaq is saying tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow's just a simple movement forward, whereas yesterday you have to move back down and touch. So I think tomorrow, if tomorrow and yesterday have the same orientation, then tomorrow should be first by movement and yesterday should be second. Okay, so let's go down. Okay, now with Tuesday, you don't have any signs that have no movement, so it's in the right place. And TH, you can classify that as a hand shape kind of change because you go, Tuesday only has one hand shape and Thursday has two hand shapes. So you don't need to worry about movement with that particular sign. Okay. And so it's in the right position. Let's go down. Okay, 6 and Wednesday. 6 has no movement, Wednesday has movement. It's in the right position. Okay, go down. Now the question is 9 and Friday. Are you going to distinguish those by hand shape as you mentioned yesterday? Do they have the same hand shape or not? If they have the same hand shape, it's in the correct position because 9 has and Friday have the same hand shape, but 9 has no movement and Friday has movement.
Yeah, the F that are unspread, sir, we're going to change that to spread. So the
Which one?
Friday, the Friday.
Friday. Okay, okay.
We're changing the F.
Okay, so it will be exactly the same hand shape. Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go down. Okay. and 5 and when kind of start with the same hand shape, but when has movement is more complex. So I think everything is in the right order. We can look at the other chart if you want to, but I think there are no distinctions. If you want to look at it again, we can look at it again. Nat, what do you think?
It's the same. It's the same, sir.
Okay.
It's the same.
Yeah, okay. So that's good. Any questions on location or movement?
They're asking if there are any questions. Nobody has questions. Okay. Nat has his hand up. Nat.
Yes, Nat.
And Yami has her hand up.
Okay, Nat, yes, go ahead.
Just waiting for the spotlight. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. Some people sign it like this, right? Where it's counterclockwise. Others are counterclockwise. So which one would go first if it's the same movement but different direction?
I would say which is the way that's most common, to the right, movement to the right.
If they're both used, they're both pretty common.
Okay, but which way do you have it drawn now?
The way we drew it was
Right, so movement to the right.
clockwise.
Yeah, I think if you just continue to start with right, like for example, this one before this one, and this one before this one, you're starting on the right. So I would say going to the right then would be first, and going to the left would be second.
Thank you, sir. That's
Right?
clear.
There's no hard and fast rule that I've come up with, but that's what I would suggest. Easier to remember. Everything starts with the right.
Okay. Right, sir. Right.
Okay. And you'll come across other kinds of things too, like that, where it's not totally clear, but you can work out a system that you can then describe. I will need to add some things in the movement section about starting, if it's in the same location, start on the right and move to the left. And if it's the movement, we can put something in if the movement goes to the right versus goes to the left. You make a decision, and whatever decision you make, we'll put it into the dictionary. I mean, if you have a forward and backward movement, like tomorrow and yesterday, I mean, yesterday also has touching, whereas tomorrow doesn't. But I think that forward movements are more common than backward movements. How do you sign the word sign name? Sign name. Name
Sign
sign.
name. Sign name.
Yeah.
Sign.
So you're actually going out with sign, right? ASL actually goes inward, but so I would, if you had a difference between this outward and inward, I would put outward first. Okay.
I think Yami had her hand up.
Yes, Yami.
So I realized when you put us into the groups and we were discussing yesterday versus tomorrow, I think that it could be as a variant as well. Instead of it just being one signed in the middle, it could also be done two ways. So I think it should be a variant in the dictionary. If we're going to take into account shape and all that, then I think with that sign, it's a variant.
Right. I mean, I think you can include as many variants as possible. And so for some of the variants, they may be based, the order may be based on orientation. For others, they may be based on movement. Okay. So yes, no problem. Just be consistent in the dictionary. Always follow the same principles. First hand shape, then palm orientation, then finger orientation. Don't go hand shape, location. Just follow everything and then you won't have any problems.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Meng has her hand up.
Yes, Ming.
Can we put up yesterday? Because it has two touches, right? But in the picture, it doesn't indicate that. Yesterday, don't we have to add in X for touch? Right? Touch on the cheek, touch on the shoulder. So maybe Peebs. Okay. So yesterday, there's a touch. So that's a question for Dr. Woody. Do we add an X then on the shoulder to indicate touch on the shoulder? In that case, Shaq is saying then we have to put two X's, one on the cheek and the shoulder, right?
If it's clear from the picture that you're touching, like the hand shape is drawn on the cheek, then you may not need to put an X. But if you want to be consistent for every touch, then I think an X is probably good. Yes, X touch here. For example, ASL is like this, or maybe like that, but it doesn't touch. So I think it would be good to consider putting a touch, but you all can discuss that and make a decision.
Okay.
Okay, now there are no pictures, no drawings of Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language, one-handed signs, and no drawings of FSL in lesson 2, one-handed signs where there's non-manual expression. In Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language, you have it with some two-handed signs. If you have a blank expression, no, but this is a noun, ship. Okay, but the verb, the ship goes, is done like this. Okay, so that's a basically non-manual expression. And then again in ASL, you have late and not yet. So in that case, late would go first, not yet would go second, and ship with neutral expression would go first and would go second. Okay, so I don't think you're going to have any problems with that. We don't have any examples. In general, as I said, if you do handshake, palm orientation, finger orientation, and location, you pretty much have it. You pretty much have everything described. If you need to add more, then you can add movement. And if you need to add more, you can add non-manuals. So, but you won't have much. So the pictures will be like side by side. So like 3 and this will be side by side. So it's pretty clear that you don't need to specify much about location, either location or especially about movement and non-manuals, because they'll be side by side in the dictionary. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Yes, Ming.
So for the dictionary, when we put all the variants in terms of categorizing it by noun and verb, do we have to do that first? So nouns go before verbs?
No, no.
Is that...
You categorize it, that it's like you categorize it by the formation phonology. So we're not putting nouns before verbs. For example, in Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language, probably most verbs will occur before nouns because verbs, sorry, it will depend. Sorry. If a noun verb pair is distinguished by facial expression, then the verb will go last because the verb will have facial expression. But if a noun verb pair is distinguished by movement, then the verb will go first because the verb only has one movement and the noun has two movements. Okay, so for example, which goes first?
Airplane or fly.
This one is fly, and this one is airplane. Which one goes first? This one, because it only has one movement, this has two movements. So in this case, in Ho Chi Minh City Sign Language, the verb would go first and the noun would go later. But in this case, the noun goes first without facial expression and the verb goes second with facial expression. So we're simply recording signs by the way they appear, not by we're not using meaning to organize the dictionary. Okay. Did that answer your question, Ming?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's come. Okay. I need to leave at 3:45 today. So just to let you know. What do you want to work on now? We can do a review for the quiz on April 6th, or we can let you start working on your lessons to fill in all the information for each lesson. Basically, we've done lesson 2. We need to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we'll hold up on 1 because it's a little bit complex. And then we wait on 9 and 10 until we have the final copy of the drawings. So which would you prefer to work on? Review for the test or work on the categorization of the vocabulary?
This is Shock.
Yes, Shock?
So again, I'm just retranslating what you just said. We're either going to do a review or uh, the arrangement of our lessons. So what do you guys want to do? The review or the lesson? Anyone? 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 Most people are saying the lesson. Let's do the lesson. Hold on. Okay, this is Shock. Review. Raise your hand. Lessons. Raise your hand. Okay, it's lesson. Yami, what did you? Lesson. Okay, lesson. All right. Marvin, lesson. Okay. Oh. So we voted. We'll do Marvin. Are you okay? Review or lesson? Lesson. The votes are in. It's lesson. Lesson it is.
Oh, okay, so before we start, who is working on lesson 3?
So Jasmine has her hand up.
Yes, Jasmine?
No, as in I'm working on lesson 3. Right?
Okay. And then lesson 4? You can do in groups. Yes, it's fine. Or you can do individually and then come back to the group.
So we can, this is Jasmine, break it up to lesson 3 and 4. So who was in my group before? Okay, Nat. Okay, Nat's group can do lessons 5 and 6. My Yami's group can do 7 and 8. All right. And then, well, let me review, guys. My group is lesson 3 and 4. Nat's group is 5 and 6. Yami's group is 7 and 8. So who doesn't know which group they're in? All right. So we're good. We're all good. You're just figuring out who's in what group. Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll split up in groups then. So before Dr. Woody leaves, maybe if we have any last minute questions for him, just in case. Yami has her
Yes.
hand up. Just before I forget, Dr. Woody, I wanted to ask you that we're basically doing the same process as level 2, right? Or lesson 2 rather. Hand shape, orientation, finger orientation, location, movement and just organize it by that?
Yes, yes. Now, first fill in lesson 3. First sign, let's say black, okay, is adjective, comma, L3, ADJ, comma, L3. Okay.
Oh, yes, yes,
Finish,
right.
finish, and then go into one-handed signs. So black is one-handed sign. Violet is two-handed sign. You forget about that. Only focus on one-handed sign. And then after you do that, then you organize by hand shape,
Mhm.
and then by orientation, palm, finger, and then if necessary, location, and if necessary, movement. Just do what you can. You don't have to finish everything by Tuesday. But on Tuesday, we'll check everything, each lesson, and then we'll start compiling everything into the larger dictionary.
Sounds good. Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm here until basically 2:40. So then I have another meeting at 2:40. Sorry, 3:40. I have another meeting at 3:45 your time. Sorry about that. Just occurred today.
No problem, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Not a